Hey guys, Adam and Cody here. Adam, owner, founder of Flex Level Fitness. Cody, go ahead and introduce yourself as we sit here for our second episode of the podcast series.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. I'm Cody, the assistant manager of Impact Fitness up the street. It's great to have you guys back.
Yes, absolutely great. It's great to be back here. Thankfully, Cody and I have been fortunate enough to remain healthy throughout all this, what some people would say nonsense. But man, I don't know about you, Cody, but I've seen people left and right getting sick. Unfortunately, I'm grateful that you and I have stayed healthy. And we're fortunate enough to have been able to continue to do our work here on the podcast, YouTube channel. But what's been your experience with family, friends?
Family, friends, most of everyone I know has had it.
Really?
Yeah, literally everyone. I couldn't name somebody that hasn't had it right
Oh my
now.
goodness! Good. I didn't expect to hear that.
Yeah,
Wow.
but they're fine.
But they've just made it through.
Yeah. I think the media has portrayed this to be like the worst thing possible, and people are so scared of getting it because of how it's made that way. And I understand people. I know a couple people that have had it, and they're like, "It was the worst thing ever."
Yep.
I'm like, "Yeah, but remember a couple years ago when you had the flu, and you were like bedridden, and you were like, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever had." I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about getting sick before, or it's been such a long time since they've actually been sick.
Been really sick.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Because as long as you're not dying, then you're not dying.
Your body will take care of itself. Yeah, for the most part. And we know from what we've seen, it's been largely people with underlying conditions, whether it's a weight problem or a heart issue, breathing issue. Those people have tended to suffer more severely. Thankfully, over at Impact Fitness, we've taken the precautions necessary to ensure that it's a safe environment, and the numbers prove that. That cannot be denied, that Impact Fitness is and remains and will continue to remain a safe place to go. But I know Cody and I agree, if you choose to not go because of safety, by all means, we respect that. And they have a system in place for freezing your membership so that you can resume and that you don't have to cancel, because we respect anybody who chooses not to put themselves in that environment. But I can tell you from my own experience, and again, I think Cody will agree, that Impact is a safe place to be. Many people choose to wear masks. It is strongly encouraged that you wear a mask when you cannot socially distance. If you are not wearing a mask, Impact and myself assume that it is because you have a medical condition. There's a reason why you cannot wear one. Yeah. That is the only reason you should not be wearing a mask. It's because something prevents you from being able to. Other than that, you best have a mask on. Is anybody going to come up to you and ask to prove, why you're not wearing one? Absolutely not. We just expect that out of common courtesy, you're going to be wearing one unless something prevents you from doing so.
Yeah, and on the same note, I will never look down on you for wearing a mask, right, even though I can't wear one. So I'm never gonna yell at you or be like, "Oh, you're stupid for wearing a mask." Like, you have the freedom to wear one, as I and every other American should have the freedom to choose whether or not they want to wear a mask or not. If I want to go the extra mile to look out for my health, then I have the freedom to. I also should have the freedom not to.
That's right. Yeah, I have heard stories of people at other gyms being mocked, I guess would be the word, for wearing a mask. That's not something that happens at Impact. We respect your decision and assume that you're doing what's best for you personally and for your family and for the other gym members. And if that means not wearing a mask because it's unhealthy for you, so be it. But we can certainly say that Impact is a safe and healthy place to be. And we're not even touching on the fact that taking care of your health and your immune system and working out, I mean, come on, that can't be ignored.
Well, so my grandfather right now, he's actually really sick. They don't know whether or not it's COVID or not. He's just at home. He doesn't feel well. He's not going to go get tested. You're not going to make him go get tested. It's just not going to happen. But he's having trouble breathing. And I'm like, well, it doesn't help that you're severely overweight. I'm like, and all this is pushing on your chest cavity. I mean, your lungs are trying to expand, and the weight on you, this goes with bodybuilders as well, sure, having a hard time breathing because they have so much muscle compressing onto them. Right. Exactly. And muscle weighs more than fat.
More dense than fat.
Yes, absolutely.
People don't understand that it's stress on the heart, whether it's fat or muscle. It's stress on the heart. Yeah. Well, hopefully his condition improves. For the most part, I've seen people 5 to 7 days. It's been severe. It sounds like your grandfather's been a bit longer than that.
He's right. He's right there. So if it is COVID, it's going to be over with soon. Because either way, even if he went and got tested, then oh no, sorry, I have an 18-wheeler passing. So either way, I mean, even if he went to the hospital, if he couldn't breathe at all, they'd put him on a ventilator. But if he can still breathe and he's fine, then they're going to be like, okay, we'll go home, get better.
And wait it out.
Yeah, there's no medication, there's no anything. They're just, okay, well, I'm glad you're part of the statistic. Move on. Like, go home and get better. Okay, so why the hell would I go get tested? That's how I look at it. I mean, if I'm sick, just like usual, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go get any people sick if I'm sick because I'm not selfish. But I'm also not going to go live in a box.
Yeah, this has been treated much differently than when you... If we had never heard of COVID and we didn't feel well one day, what would you do? You'd stay home. You just wouldn't go to work.
I'd be like, I have the flu. I'm sick.
And out for a few days.
Yeah, and nor would I go get tested for the flu. I'd just stay home and hydrate, and I'd get better. My body takes care of itself because I take care of it.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Speaking of taking care of yourself, actually, we had a lot of questions this week about dietary or your diet. So, Adam, the question that I got this week was the difference between white rice and brown rice.
Yeah, that comes up a lot. That's, I would say 70, 80% of the people I work with ask me, or I'll put rice in their diet and they'll say, well, brown rice or white rice. Or they'll say, I eat jasmine rice. Is that okay? Okay, so Cody's one of those people that eats jasmine rice. That's why Cody looks as terrible as he does. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, guys, a lot of you will be surprised at my answer to this, which I am very confident in, is that there is such a slight difference between white rice and brown rice. We don't get caught up in the minutia of what I call the 10%. We're not going to let 10% of our diet affect 90% of our brain space. Let's not take the time to focus on these little things. Should it be white or brown? The difference is so small, it's not going to make or break the effectiveness of your diet. With that said, in an ideal world, you'd choose brown over white. At the same time, if you were having rice as one of your carb sources and decided to switch from brown to white, I can almost assure you, you're not going to see a difference.
Now is one broken down better by the body, or?
White rice is going to be broken down slightly faster than brown rice, meaning, I'll get into a little bit of detail on this. When you take in any form of carbohydrate, there's something called the glycemic index. The glycemic index is what measures how quick your blood sugar response is, which then leads to how quick your insulin response is. When the body takes in a carbohydrate, it breaks it down into a sugar. When there's sugar in the bloodstream, your pancreas releases insulin to clear that sugar from your blood. You want very few peaks and valleys throughout the day. When you eat a bag of Skittles, your blood sugar goes way up. Your body releases then glucagon. Your body pumps out a bunch of insulin. Think of it like it has to think so quickly, it doesn't have time to measure out the insulin, so it just pumps your body full of it. Oftentimes it's going to release too much, and then your body has to release glucagon to bring it back to where it needs to be. When you're at a very high blood sugar and a very low blood sugar, that's setting yourself up for hunger. And I don't want to call it binge eating. I don't want to use that word, but you're more apt to make a poor decision with regard to the next meal you have, because you want to get ahead of things and not put yourself in a position where you're hungry. So you want to eat foods like oatmeal, like rice, that break down slowly. Both white rice and brown rice break down slowly, relatively speaking. Compared to, like I said, fruit too, that breaks down quickly. But I use candy as an example. That's going to break down extremely quickly, resulting in a quick release of insulin. You want your insulin and blood sugar to rise slowly throughout the day, come down, rise, come down. When burning fat, you want to stay as level as possible throughout the day. That puts your body in an ideal state for burning fat. There'll be a graphic that Cody will place at the end of this video. You can take a look at it. It shows you that there is many more micronutrients in brown rice. Micronutrients aren't going to play a huge role in fat loss. So when somebody comes to me for a diet for burning fat, again, I'll tell them rice. If they want to choose white, great. If you want to choose brown, great. It's not going to make a huge difference. But to answer your question, yes, brown rice will break down more slowly than white rice, but the difference is not great enough to be a deciding factor in whether or not we achieve your weight loss goal. That's the bottom line. And most importantly, when people come to me, their diet is, I mean, I've seen it's so poor. I wanted to avoid saying that.
It is. Well, I had a guy come up to me in the gym the other day, and he was like, "Hey, you guys do nutrition here? You guys set up like?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we set up meal plans. I can't tell you whether or not the diet that you're on is nutritious or not." He's like, I was like, "What are you eating now?" He's like, "Oh, complete shit."
Yeah.
I was
Okay,
like,
so
"Oh, so you know that you're just awful." Because I mean, it's not. People look at a diet as in like, "Oh my God, I gotta eat so much less food," when actually you're gonna eat more food than you've ever eaten.
Typically, I could tell you with over 100, probably 200 people, more often than not, it's been a caloric increase that has resulted in the progress and the fat loss that the people are usually seeking. Sometimes people come to me for weight gain or muscle gain, but even with fat loss, it's usually an increase in calories, and they'll be so happy. I give them the diet, and they'll say, "Oh my God, I get to eat all this." Yeah, you've been starving yourself. Your metabolism is at a crawl, so we're going to increase the calories, typically slowly, and nearly without fail, it results in what we're trying to achieve. Starvation is not the way to go. It will it provide quick results? Oftentimes, maybe not sustainable results, which is what you're looking for. Do you want to look this way for a month, or do you want to look this way for months and be able to sustain it? That's typically what people want to do. So when it comes to brown rice and or white rice, don't get caught up in the difference. 99% of you who are not getting on stage, don't worry about it. Eat which one you prefer. Eat which one is more convenient for you. That's all. Jasmine rice falls in the white rice category. Call it the rice category. Chances are it's a better carb source than you're eating now, because like you said, people's diets tend to be so poor when they come to me. And the fact that we're eating rice as a carb source at all is an improvement. Absolutely. Great. So let's not get caught up in whether it's brown or white. Let's just replace those Doritos with rice, and we're off to a good start.
Well, and that was the other thing. So I mean, these people come up to me and they're always like, "Oh, I'm always so tired. I don't have the energy." Like, "Oh, well, what are you taking for carbs?" And they're like, "Well, no, I'm not doing carbs right now." I'm like, "Oh, well, there you go." Like,
all right. Now, people who say they're not doing carbs right now usually mean they're eating low carbs. The amount of those people that are doing no carbs, first of all, their energy would likely not be low because the ketones would have kicked in. But when people are doing low carb, like 30, 40, even under 100 can be pretty low for people our size. Think about how low their caloric intake must be, unless they're compensating by taking in a bunch of fat, healthy fats, or protein. It's pretty unlikely.
well, that's exactly what it was. He was like, "Oh, I just take like a container of grilled chicken with me."
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay.
All day.
All day.
So that and water or soda.
So his caloric intake is so low. In addition to, if he is coming in and out of ketosis, he'll find himself tired periodically while he gets back into ketosis. There'll be a period of being tired. Once those ketones kick back in, his energy and mental clarity would likely be great. But the number of people who can follow a diet that puts them into ketosis is very few and far between. I almost never will use a zero carb diet. So where you don't want to be is that really low carb area. Either be zero and go zero. And when I say zero, you've got, the leeway is different for everybody, but to be in ketosis, typically it's under 20 to get you there. And you can purchase a simple test at CVS. You pee on a little stick and it will tell you whether or not there are ketones in your urine. So you can find out whether or not you're in ketosis or you need to go even lower carb. That will provide quick results. That will not be sustainable. But typically people do not have low energy because ketones are a phenomenal source of energy that your brain will release when you are not taking in enough carbs, which again is a very, very low number. So that's what I have to say about carbs. Either take in healthy carbs and enough of them, or go zero carb. But being at that low point, unless you're having somebody like myself put the diet together for you, where I can give you the information you need to make up for those lost calories by increasing the healthy fats and protein, don't try to do that on your own, because yes, you will be exhausted.
So besides that, besides eating, I think we have a video being released this week.
Yes, that's right. We do have a piece of equipment that I see very few people use at Impact, and those who I do see use it are typically doing it incorrectly. So look for that video this week. If there's any in particular that you guys are excited for or want to learn how to use, we appreciate any email or stop us in the gym and tell us. But Cody and I have a pretty good idea of which pieces it is. We're there every day. We see you guys. We see which ones are being done wrong. And I love when somebody will come up and ask. And like we mentioned in the last video, swallow their pride and just say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Or sometimes I'll find somebody kind of giving that look. You know, that look, they'll kind of, they're like peeking to either watch you do it, or you can tell they kind of want some help. Then I'll go up to somebody. Aside from that, though, I'm not
that guy. I'm not that guy that goes and searches the gym for people to help, because I think that guy's a dickhead.
And most people would. Some people, look at, there have been instances where people are so appreciative. Hey, thanks so much for coming up to me. Yeah. Awesome. I just don't like to.
If there's somebody right next to me, I'll be like, hey, I know you're trying to do this, but if you do this a little bit differently, like, you're gonna get what you want to do.
You can get a feel for the person.
But I mean, I've had guys come up to me and like, yeah, you know, you're not doing that correctly, and I'm like, guy, I literally just worked on form my whole life and then started adding weight. Yeah. Like, there are things that I can correct on, but like what you're coming out to me and saying is dumb. Like, you learned that from Joe Schmo like 20 years ago when you were working out in his basement, and he was like, nah, do it this way. I saw it on, this video. No, it wasn't even a video, because they didn't have video then. No, like, you're lying. There was no video. You saw some guy do it, and he was also doing it wrong, and you've been spreading it to every person. Yeah, right, that you see.
Who knows how many people, right. Yeah, because I can tell you that from working with the clients that I do at Impact, the biggest thing is the form. Forget the weight. We don't care about the weight. The way I've been explaining it lately is, I don't care about getting the weight from A to B. It's what happens in your mind while it's traveling from A to B. What goes on up there, thinking about it, the mind-muscle connection is so important. I can't drive that point home enough. Think about it. If you're typing a text while you're doing an exercise, if you're on the leg press while you're texting, forget that set. Throw that out the window. There's no way that you are thinking about writing a text message while you're thinking about that mind-muscle connection and having the blood engorge your quads or hamstrings, whatever part of the leg you may be doing. You have to think about what is happening from A to B. Don't just heave the weight and get it there. So the powerlifters who have come to me who want to switch to bodybuilding, that's what I see happen. They're just jerking the weight. Let me just get this from A to B. And that's nothing against powerlifting. That's the goal. Get it from A to B. When it comes to bodybuilding, hypertrophy is the goal. And that's when what happens in your brain while getting the point from A to B becomes more important than just simply getting it from A to B.
I definitely started that way, I think, when I started at Impact, even just lifting there, because there's so many amazing people there, and they're huge people. There's people that are seriously in shape, seriously shredded, just gorgeous people. So I think I was like, I did not look the part when I first started there, so I was more of an eagle lifter. And I have videos up of like my PR for leg press, friggin' squat, bench, anything you can name it. I think it's turned into, once I went, actually Jake Webb is actually the person who told me, because I remember my first time getting hurt, and he was like, yeah, you'll learn it, and you'll learn it quick, that once you stop lifting for for weight and start focusing on the muscle, that you get hurt less. I've noticed that so much more now that people look at me in the gym and they're like, oh, wow. I know for a fact, because they're like, oh, he's only lifting like curling 25s. Like, what is he doing? He could lift so much more. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but I'm tossing it. I'm throwing it. Instead of focusing on extending and squeezing, contracting that muscle, focusing on the squeeze. Yes, right. And I've noticed a lot of that on the cable curl, the cable preacher curl. People would put their elbows on it.
The cable, the gray and black machine.
No, the red one with the flat top with the cable.
I'm not. I'm trying to picture wearing the.
You know,
I'm not.
no.
No,
So
I'm trying to picture wearing
there's a preacher cable curl, and
not the plate loaded one.
no, it's the
Okay.
red selectorized from Atlantis.
Atlanta, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of lying their triceps along the platform and fully extending their arms and then curling it back up, guys will go up and they'll put their elbows on it. And I'm like, this is why that machine had the huge holes in the pad.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, because they were doing it on their elbows and just.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yes. Because I'll walk up to that machine and I'll see it on like the 6th or 7th plate. I'll say, you know what? My arms aren't the smallest in the world. Show me that guy or girl. Would somebody please bring me that guy or girl so I can see how big their arms are? Yes. That machine is very difficult. I think for myself, I go to the maybe 60 pounds, and that's only good for 7 or 8 reps.
Do it. So I was telling Vicky that the other day that a lot of the machines in this gym are humbling. Because if you do them correctly, you can't use a lot of weight.
The standing leg curl. Yeah. You kidding me? The thing's got a stack on it, and I'm at the 20. Right? I mean, again, show me that person who is doing the 10 and 15.
And it's the same thing. So that bent over, the bent over calf raise.
Yes.
Right in the front row.
The donkey calf raise.
Yes, I will see it racked.
And then I've seen people put weights on top of it. Stop. What do you...
You're doing it incorrectly.
Clearly.
I'm sorry.
Clearly, there's no way that your form is correct when you're doing that much more than every other big muscular person in the gym. Come on.
But, well, I mean, it has a lot to say because when people look at people like you and I in the gym, they're like, oh, they must throw so much weight. I'm like, no, along with negative reps. Negative reps are the most important reps.
The eccentric portion, which is what Cody's referring to, the negative. When you squeeze, when you're doing something like a bicep curl, people are thinking of coming up. What's equally, if not more important, is coming down.
I think it's more important because you're squeezing a muscle together and then you're not letting it just drop.
Don't just let it go.
Yeah, right. And it pisses me off.
Just relax it.
Well, we just had to repair like the chest and shoulder press from Nautilus, the human sport. Mm-hmm. We had to replace the cable because people slam it down. And it's not designed for that. Nothing in the gym besides the slam station with the bumper plates, because that's why they're designed like that, are designed to slam down. Nothing else is. It's not designed to. They're like, oh, well, they're weights. I'm like, yeah, so place them down. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't go pick up a flipping Atlas stone and just start dropping it on concrete. Like, they're not designed to do that. But you would see people do it. Like, well, it's heavy, and that's what you're supposed to do. I'm like, no. You're supposed to place it down. Even in the strongman games, when they use the Atlas stones, around it is a big fucking pad. So if it falls, it hits the freaking pad.
Right. Yeah, that is so overlooked, the negative portion of nearly every exercise. But specifically, you've got me thinking about biceps. I see so many people do, maybe you'd call a 3/4 rep. And what they're missing is all down here, the inside of the elbow where it attaches. You'll see a lot of people with a deficiency there, and they lack the roundness and fullness to their biceps. That is a result of likely poor form, sometimes genetics, but majority of the people I work with, that exercise specifically, the preacher curl, in my first sessions, I'll just want them to show me how you do this exercise. Yeah. Almost inevitably, I say, okay, well, this is why you've got this deficiency here, is because first of all, you're just letting it go. I mean, what are you doing? That's half of the motion, and you're just letting it go.
That's what I say. I'm like, it's one exercise. So why would you do 50% of the work? Because then you didn't do all of that. You did half of it. And that's why, so not to be mean, but that's why I always say about like board short competitors. I'm always like, you're half of a bodybuilder. Yeah. I'm like, 'cause you're not training your lower half anymore. Like you're just, and I mean,
some of them do.
They do, yeah. There's a couple guys in our gym that do board short competing or competitions that have amazing legs. But there's also a huge group of them that knew I'm gonna go compete board shorts because I suck at training my legs, or people don't want to. Which, hey, I love having legs, and if they want to choose to do that, that's fine. And you still put in just as much work as the next guy on stage with you. That's so.
So yeah, just to wrap that topic up, the form. Forget the weight, guys and girls. Really, nobody cares. When was the last time somebody asked you, what do you? People don't care. No. People see you and will think, oh, wow, what a strong guy. Maybe it's a bit vain, but that's really what we're going for. Yeah, our health, of course, we train because of our health. We like to look a certain way. That look is achieved by avoiding injury, being consistent, training smart, and using proper form and full range of motion.
And I know a couple of other people were asking about vascularity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that comes up. Thank you again for those who have emailed in. Vascularity. A lot of people won't like my initial response to this. Genetics is probably the largest factor when it comes to vascularity. Genetics because the size of your veins and how close to the top of the skin your veins are on your body. Now, with me saying that, you can also figure that the thickness of the layer of skin above the vein is determined by how much fat you have on your body. The less fat you have on the body, the more vascular you're going to be. But look at a bodybuilder like Jay Cutler. Obviously, he was probably 3 or 4% no vascularity. He would admit that. He's got some veins, sure. Oh, he was also a Mr. Olympia competitor. You would expect that they're ripped with veins. No, Jay was not ripped with veins. Still had a beautiful physique, head to toe. The guy had the whole package, but veins wasn't something that was necessary for him to be as successful as he was. That's genetics. Jay was absolutely shredded, and to this day remains super lean, just not a vascular guy. Other things that affect vascularity: carbohydrate intake because of the glycogen stores in the muscle. Some people say, "Oh, I'm flat as a pancake today." People in the bodybuilding community will be familiar with that saying. Flat because your water and or carbohydrate intake has been low enough that you have a bit of a deflated look, and your glycogen stores are therefore low. Think of it like a balloon. Without those glycogen stores, your muscle bellies are not going to be filled out like a balloon. So you're just flat. You have a flat look, nothing pushing the muscle out. Pushing the muscle out, what's on top of the muscle is the veins, so everything gets pushed closer to the surface of the skin. Sodium can also play a role. Go ahead.
So do people with veins say they're like, I'm as ripply as a waffle?
I haven't heard that one yet. Now that you said it, somebody will probably say it. I haven't heard that. But, people love veins. I don't, me too. This is no joke. When I played football in high school, Allen Iverson. Okay, he was people around my age and probably Cody's age too will know Allen Iverson. He was a basketball player. He was an all-star for years. I think problems off the court that cut his career short, but he was vascular. And I was like jealous of that. I wanted veins so bad that before football practice, I would draw veins on my forearms, okay, with a pen. This wasn't something I did every day, but multiple times. When I grew up, I wanted to be Superman. I wanted to be He-Man. That's what drove me. I wanted to be a superhero. That's what got me into bodybuilding and lifting. But there were days where I would draw little lines on my arms and pretend like they were veins. I wasn't a kid. I was in high school, okay? So I wanted this bad. I was relatively... Until about junior year of high school, I was a relatively chubby kid, but I believe by that point I had started to see some vascularity, and so I get it. I understand people are somewhat obsessed with that, with being vascular, but just know that a lot of it is genetic. There's a huge genetic component to it. At the same time, get lean enough, and chances are some veins are going to come out. I had a guy recently lose, it was 46 pounds when he hit 200, and he's down to 198. So he's lost close to 50 pounds. His legs are covered in veins now. He didn't have a vein on his body. And now his calves, quads, he's covered in veins. He never knew that they existed. So that just goes to show they were always there. They were just covered by fat.
It does give you I don't want to say inspiration, but the drive. Because once you start seeing some veins popping through, leaner, right? More muscular. Yes. Absolutely. Because I know when I started seeing mine pop through that, I'm like, oh shit! When's the next one gonna come? You see them even on your shins, your calves. I'm a huge leg guy, so I mean, if you don't have legs, I have a tough time talking to you. or
That's extreme. That's
or relating. I'm just like, because you know how everyone always is in the gym. Like they'll come size you up, and the first thing I'll do, man, I'll look down. I'll be like, yeah, do you got legs?
People.
It does. It absolutely does.
You cannot achieve legs without training. Achieve good legs without training your ass off. That applies to men and women. You have got to train hard.
Women train their legs more than men do.
I do see that.
I see girls doing at least 3 leg days a week, 3, possibly 4. I mean, I've seen these two. I talked to these 2 girls and I did correct them, but they were like, "Oh, we do legs every day," and I was like, "That's not good." I was like, because all the work you're doing, you're actually destroying your muscle, because you're not giving any time to rest. I mean, well, if you're doing it correctly, if you're flexing correctly or squeezing correctly and doing the right workouts, then you're right. You're destroying it.
That's another topic Cody and I will hit on is frequency of training. A lot of people ask, how many days a week should I train? We will commit an episode entirely to that subject. Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah, I'll keep a little bit in the pocket.
Yeah, do that. Absolutely save that. But yeah, training legs, it separates people. And if you ever go to a bodybuilding show, when the bodybuilding class comes out, I'm not referring to the guys with the board shorts again, no disrespect to them, but when guys come out in their skimpy trunks, what separates guys is the legs.
Yeah, well, because I forget his name, but he just won. He just won in Arizona.
It was a pro show?
Yes, but they were board shorts. But I saw him, and he pulled you could see him hiking his shorts up, like on stage,
To be able to show.
so he could showcase his outer and his inner.
And this was a board short.
Yes, and I saw him do it, and I was like, I guarantee you, this guy takes it because he has freaking legs. I was like, dude is shredded. He's got big legs.
And he knew it.
I mean, and you can see the guys that don't. They wear the baggy shorts. And they're baggy, like they're big. Like I don't even I wear short shorts to the beach. Like guys that have legs wear yeah, absolutely.
And nothing can give you legs but hard work. You have to train your ass off to achieve good thick legs. It is a bit more difficult for taller people. I've got a couple tall clients who do struggle to build their legs. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but think about it. You're stretching a body out, so it's more difficult to get that density and that thickness that you and I are fortunate enough to have. But again, that was through heavy squats for years. I don't squat anymore, but I still train them with high volume, high intensity.
You know what? So I started by squatting a lot, and I've actually moved over to more of like a Phil Heath style workout, because he doesn't squat, he doesn't deadlift, he doesn't do all these movements that can possibly injure yourself.
But it's worth, Cody. You're still what I would consider young. I mean, I'm 37.
I'm already trying to not get hurt.
And that's wise. Look at again to bring up Jay. We're not here trying to fanboy Jay. He is from our area, and we love that he comes to Impact when he's around. But look at he says he's got no joint pain or nothing. He trains smart, and he was able to get out early, and he still trains smart, proper form. He will always tell you that. You don't see videos of Jay squatting 800 pounds. Who do you see videos of squatting 800 pounds? The guy in the wheelchair, literally, Cody, the guy in the wheelchair who now relies on pain pills every day.
I love I think he's awesome. I think he's a staple in the bodybuilding community. But yeah, I don't know. I'd love to ask him if he could go back, if he'd do it all over again.
They did ask him that, and he said, yes. Imagine that, Cody. He said, if I could have done anything differently, I would have done an extra rep with the 800. He said he would do it all over again, and honestly, I have a hard time believing that that's said with I don't want to say he was being dishonest, but...
Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. To say that you would to be like, I'm ashamed, or like I made a mistake, but like I know I can't go back, so...
I know, that's right.
So I'm going to stick to my word. So...
Because really, I mean, you've got many daughters, and you're pretty much wheelchair bound.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what kind of a life is it to live if you can't live it?
If you don't have your health, like my father has always said, if you don't have your health, you got nothing. Go ahead, say that again.
Well, he's spending it all on surgeries, rehabilitation. Dude, I know that I'd be riding around in like the Cadillac of wheelchairs, like
Right. I mean, yeah, being the tallest of the minions, you have the Cadillac of the wheels. I mean, really, is that what you want to live for? Come on. So I have a hard time believing that he wouldn't have done things differently. Who knows, though? I tore my pec doing 315 on a bench. can I go back and say, oh, I should have stopped at 225? You don't know.
That's why I don't bench.
Oh, yeah, I'll throw that in here. Now I actually had the conversation again with somebody yesterday. Flat barbell bench press, that's a non-negotiable for people who work with me. We do not flat barbell bench press for that reason. You are so susceptible to injury. Anybody who has had a pec tear, I will tell you, greater than 75% of them was flat barbell. There is no need. You can hit it so many other ways. I do not negotiate on that.
You can hit more by doing dumbbell because you're following your natural movement of your shoulder, and you're letting your pec stretch even more. You can go deeper. You drop your elbows. You can go deeper to the side, so you're putting in your tricep and squeezing up. Right, and I mean, I see it. I've seen 3 people tear their pec, and I don't.
It's a devastating injury.
I don't. Dude, I keep bringing up Jake Webb, but I mean, when I saw him tear his pec, it shocked me because of how big Jake's chest is, and I was like, oh wow, like how much weight were you doing? You must have been doing so much weight. Right. He was like, no, he's like, actually, I was only doing like 405. Yep. I mean, and he gets up there, he gets up to like 550 in the bench, but I mean, whenever people tell me like, oh, how much you bench? I'm like, I don't. Or what's your PR? I don't. Like, I don't, man.
How about the question when people say, hey, man, how much you lift? Like, what can you tell me, Cody, what that even means? How much do I
Well, for me, I say I can lift 2 women. I bench 2 women.
Yeah, and who knows if that's what they even mean when they how much you lift.
No, it's usually bench. I don't know why.
It is usually bench, but it's just funny the way they ask it, though. How much you lift? Like, curl, like bench, what is lift?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it is usually bench that they're referring to. I just think it's funny that that's the question. How much do you lift? Like, what do you mean lift? I mean, I do 30 different exercises in a week. What do you mean, how much do I lift? But yeah, bench, flat barbell bench press, absolutely no need. You can develop a full chest without it. Just as efficiently. So if you're doing it, I would strongly advise you to cut it out. You are really asking for injury. I see it over and over again. It's just not worth it. The
incline.
Absolutely all day long do that. Yes. Rarely.
Following the natural movement.
Surprisingly, Kevin Levrone did tear his pec about 3 years ago doing incline. That's the only instance I've ever heard it happening.
Also, a flat bench bencher as well.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Although he did do it on the incline, there could have been other factors. He was dieting down for a show. He was super lean. He was probably, look at Kevin Levrone, he's a pro bodybuilder. He knows more than I do, but we don't know what type of weight he was doing, how lean he was at the time. There's many other factors that could have played a role in him getting injured. In my experience, the odds of being injured doing an incline barbell or incline dumbbell, slim to none. I just rarely see it happen because, like you said, Cody, the angle is much more natural. Yeah, I encourage people to start every chest workout with an incline movement after a warm-up because for the majority of people, again, both men and women, the upper inner chest is a weak point. Yes. I know for me, I didn't wear V-neck T-shirts for years because I had no upper chest and I wanted it so bad. So began training a particular way, starting every chest workout with an incline movement when I'm strongest, the beginning of a workout. And for myself and for clients, it's paid off. So that's what I have to say about bench. But flat barbell, cut it out of your workout. There's no need for it. You are just setting yourself up for potential injury, a devastating one at that takes many months to recover from.
But I understand that it is like the most eco lift in the gym. Yeah. I did it. You've done it. Sure. I mean, everybody's done it. So I mean, once you get it out of your system, try to get away from it as fast as you can, unless you're a power lifter. But like we said earlier on, powerlifting is its own beast. It's its own animal.
Totally,
I mean, go have fun. It's not for me. But if you're looking to develop your whole body and to be able to do it for years to come, like I've seen a lot of power lifters come over to bodybuilding. I've seen a lot of CrossFitters come over to bodybuilding because of injury. Everybody does it because of injury. And I think it's funny because, I mean, people are like, oh, well, don't you want to be able to walk when you're 50? I'm like, it's funny because out of all the lifts around, like powerlifting, CrossFit, people come to bodybuilding to like do it for a while. You'll see people that are like, oh, you should have seen me back in the 80s or 90s. And I'm like, that's fine, man. Yeah, show me the picture. Like, I love, like, dude, I get it. You just stopped. George Beirut, he goes to our gym.
Yes.
I forget how old.
No, I think he's older. No, he's older than 60s. I'm almost positive. If we are talking about the same person, he recently told me, does he have a Corvette?
Yeah, he's got the beard. He's got the white beard, bald head, glasses.
Oh, he is 60 something. Yes. He made a huge transformation.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
He was fat.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. And that's not to insult him. He would accept that.
I was fat as hell.
Yep. He pulled out his phone, locker room one day, and said, yeah, this is what he used to look like. I was shocked. Yes, he is in his early to mid 60s. Guy hits it hard every day. But yeah, there is somebody who looks equally as good who is over 70, and I can't think of his name. He's a vet. I believe his name may be Bill, but he drives the maroon Corvette.
Oh, I know who you're talking about too.
Sometimes he
I
trains
know
with a few girls.
Yes. I forget his name. I'm gonna go look it up. You'll be in our next podcast.
Yes. Look, he looks phenomenal. Yes, we'll be sure to put your name out there in the next podcast. Looks phenomenal. Guy trains smart. I don't see him throwing huge weights around.
Dude, my dad's 60 and he's still, or 62 actually now. 62. And he'll be 62 next month. But he's 62 and he still bodybuilds. He's still done it. He's competed on stage. I know what I'm gonna look like in 40 years. So I mean that's great for me. So
So he's trained smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Eats right. I mean, he didn't really drink at all until he just retired and he's down in Florida now. So he has a beer or two every day. Yeah.
No. We won't get into alcohol, but that is another non-negotiable for people who are looking to lose weight. And that's not anything due to my own personal experience with drug use and addiction. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. That's a totally different topic. But for your own sake, I will say that alcohol has no place in a weight loss diet or a muscle gaining diet. There is no place. It does more damage than you think. Well, it's just a glass of wine a day. No, you'd be shocked if you saw the science behind how much that little bit of alcohol really does impact your metabolism, how those calories build up, the sugar content. It's not worth it. Trust me. Get it out. It's just one glass a week. I don't care. It's got to go.
If you want to see serious results fast, and I'm talking like 15 pounds like in 1 month. I've seen people.
Yeah, if you're somebody who's drinking regularly,
yes.
Just start with cutting out the alcohol.
Yes. I don't even tell them to change their diet. I'm like, dude, how much are you drinking? I'm like, because last time I remember, you would drink every day, like a 6-pack or a 12-pack. I'm like, do yourself a favor and cut that out first. I was like, your first month. And I know that's going to be the hardest part out of anything. But if you can do that, then you can do everything else. And you're talking like 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah, because the calories right there alone, just huge. So forget changing the diet. Let's start with this.
A little, 6 beers would be like 500 calories.
Beer.
Yeah, right.
I figure it's at least 100 calories a beer. Yeah. So if you're having 6 beers right there, so being super conservative, you're talking 500 calories a day.
That's what I'm saying.
So forget everything else. You're already cutting 500 calories a day.
We'll multiply that by a week.
Exactly. And they say, 3,500 calories in a pound. So yeah, you could, without changing anything else, just cutting out the alcohol, this person could begin to lose a pound a week. Never mind talking to them about changing their diet, adding cardio, all those other factors. Right. And that change that they'll see will likely be enough to motivate them to want to then make the next change.
I think the same thing.
And I guarantee you that what they see happen to themselves, I see this, Cody, in the gym. People say, I haven't had a drink in a week and I feel great. Yeah, no kidding. Your skin comes to life. Yeah. All these things happen and they get motivated. They begin to feel different, realize that they look better, and become motivated to just, I want the next thing, and to get more and more results, all because of what is hopefully easy decision to stop drinking alcohol. So I understand that can be more of a struggle for some than others.
If it's not easy, there are definitely places that can help.
There is help out there. It exists. It is waiting for you. If you don't want it, forget it. But if you are somebody who's drinking every day, wants to get help, it's out there. Trust me. Ask Cody. The help's out there. You can get it if you want it. And boy, how you will feel if you choose to cut something like that out of your life. Some people, this is me just saying this on a personal note, maybe take a look at that. I think there's more people out there than you might think who think that they don't have a problem. I just have a couple beers a day. Well, if you have any problem going a few days without those couple beers a day, it may be something to take a look at. I can't label anybody an alcoholic, but with as frequent as I see it, it just may be a wise idea for people to just take a look at it and be sure that it's not a problem. It's not one you ever want to have. It's not one you ever want to battle. So please don't let it ever get to that point. Help yourself, help your family.
On that note, guys, we are going to wrap this up today. We don't want to spill too much into each category that we want to talk about because, unfortunately, we can talk about anything we want for as long as we want, and you just have to pick a subject, and we could go forever. But we're creeping on 45 minutes here, so again, we have to go to work.
We're off to work, guys. Thank you so much. For those that have begun to follow, you'll see more and more of Cody and I's presence on social media, on YouTube. There'll be a new banner going up at Impact in the very near future, and we look forward to talking to you guys next week. Again, like Cody said, look for a training video to come this week. We'll be putting one out. We have not decided yet which piece of equipment we'll be putting up there, but we just want to continue to help the Impact community and the lifting and fitness community as a whole. That's what we're here to do, guys. So anything you guys have to say to us in terms of recommendations, things you want to hear about, gainsofreedom@gmail.com is where you can find us. Cody, what do you got to wrap it up?
So, guys, help us out again. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and we will keep doing this for you guys every week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your attention and listening, and whatever you guys got to say to us, please, again, gainsofreedom@gmail.com, Flex Level Fitness and Impact Fitness, Auburn, East Coast Mecca. Love you guys.